Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a bit of an empathy walk into a very specific and honestly, completely misunderstood way of experiencing the world. We are going to step directly into the shoes of someone who processes life at an entirely different resolution. We're unpacking the fascinating psychological research behind the extremely high IQ mind. And as you'll see, having a hyper-capable brain often looks absolutely nothing like you'd expect.
So, I want you to do me a favor. Picture someone with high intelligence right now. Just get that image in your head. Got it? Okay, let's dive into this. Usually, we picture someone who's just obviously impressive, right? Someone who's constantly confident, solving complex problems out loud, and making absolutely sure the entire room is aware of just how smart they are. We expect this booming, unmistakable presence. But science? Well, science tells a radically different story.
Because when we actually compare that cultural stereotype to the reality, cognitive psychologists have discovered, after decades of studying highly intelligent individuals, by the way, that their behavioral patterns often look like the exact opposite of what we'd assume. Instead of being loud and certain, they are often quiet and doubting. Instead of arrogant, they're endlessly restless. You see, a very high IQ doesn't just make our protagonists smarter, it fundamentally changes how they process the entire world. Let's look at why.
Section 1. The engine beneath, a hyper-connected mind.
So the crucial point is, to really understand this behavior, we first have to look under the hood at how their neurological engine actually operates. The high IQ brain doesn't just function like a normal brain that's been bumped up to a faster speed setting. The mechanics of the engine itself are entirely different. Psychologist Kazimierz Dabrowski studied gifted individuals extensively, and he coined this brilliant term for what he observed: psychomotor overexcitability. For our protagonist, this means their mind never truly quiets down. Not during rest, not late at night. There's literally always a background process running. They're constantly turning over a problem, revisiting a conversation, or building these complex mental simulations for things that haven't even happened yet. There's simply no natural off switch.
And this brilliantly illustrates what neuroscientist Rex Jung found. He noted that higher intelligence is associated with richer connectivity between distant regions of the brain. The highly intelligent brain makes connections across a massive network of ideas simultaneously, all the time. That constant connectivity is precisely why true rest is nearly impossible for them. So their brain isn't malfunctioning when it keeps them up at 3 a.m. It's actually doing exactly what it was built to do.
Moving on to Section 2. Navigating the world and dealing with social friction. Now, let's take our protagonist out of their own head and put them into a social setting. When you take a hyper-connected, constantly running neurological engine and drop it into an average social environment, you get friction. Have you ever noticed that highly intelligent people often spend a lot of time alone? It's so easy to label them as antisocial. But research published by the London School of Economics found that frequent social interaction actually lowers their life satisfaction. Why? Because the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for complex reasoning, literally requires quiet environments to function best. Social interaction is cognitively expensive. They aren't antisocial at all. They're simply using stillness as fuel to recharge a highly demanding cognitive system.
In those social settings, they usually default to observing rather than speaking. They are incredibly accurate at reading social cues, immediately picking up on the real tensions beneath the surface, but they need time to process that massive amount of incoming data. Furthermore, psychologist Leda Hollingworth identified that they often suffer from what she called stimulus poverty. They hold back because they have this quiet longing for deep, bottomless conversations, the kind of challenge and depth that regular, everyday environments rarely provide. So they just calibrate themselves down.
This hyper-connected processing also totally changes how they argue. To the outside world, a person who frequently shifts their positions can look inconsistent or even unreliable. But in reality, this is profound cognitive flexibility. Highly intelligent people treat their beliefs as working theories. When new evidence appears, their brain runs an honest update process and just changes the model. They aren't attached to being right. They're attached to having the most accurate picture of reality possible.
Okay, let's shatter one of our biggest myths right now. We always assume that genius is a cold, rational, emotionally detached thinker. But Dabrowski's research found the exact opposite. He called it emotional overexcitability. Studies show that higher IQ actually correlates with significantly greater emotional reactivity. They possess an acute, intense sensitivity to beauty, art, moral questions, and human suffering. They feel the world just as intensely as they analyze it.
Which brings us to Section 3, the internal battle between work and doubt.
Let's transition into our protagonist's private moments. You'd think that with such a capable mind, getting work done would be completely effortless. But there is a fierce internal battle that takes place between their massive capabilities and their own crippling self-awareness. They frequently procrastinate hardest on the work that matters to them the most. Psychologist Carol Dweck's research identifies this as complexity awareness. Before they even start, their high IQ brain comprehends the full, exhausting scope of what true excellence requires. They can already see every possible flaw and every single way the finished product might fall short of their internal vision. To us, it looks like laziness, but it's actually a paralysis born from caring way too much.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the neurological explanation for their legendary boredom. Neuroscience actually links higher cognitive ability to higher baseline dopamine activity in the brain's reward system. This means they habituate incredibly fast. The stimulus that engaged them yesterday doesn't work today. When the intellectual challenge drops, their dopamine drops sharply. That restless need to change careers or, spontaneously pick up 10 new hobbies in a single weekend, it's actually a physiological response to insufficient stimulation.
You'll also frequently hear them say, "I don't know." And again, we mistake this hesitation for a lack of confidence. Actually, scratch that, it's more like a profound awareness of scale. This is the Dunning-Kruger effect at the very high end. Because they intimately understand the vast complexity of a subject, they can clearly see exactly how much they don't know. Saying "I don't know" isn't a weakness. It is a precise, accurate map of unexplored territory. It's genuine intellectual humility.
And this deep understanding of complexity breeds a persistent, genuine self-doubt. Psychologist Albert Ellis observed this, noting they are prone to treating any gap between performance and potential as evidence of fundamental inadequacy. They hold themselves to uniquely punishing standards. They treat any gap between what they actually produced and what they know they had the potential to produce as a complete failure. So the doubt you see isn't a sign of lesser intelligence at all. It's actually the most reliable signature of a greater one.
And finally, Section 4, a different resolution.
As we bring this explainer to its conclusion, we really have to look at the ultimate result of carrying this kind of mind. If you are constantly processing more, feeling more, and needing more depth than the world around you can offer, what does that actually feel like on a daily basis? Well, it often feels like a subtle, ongoing awareness of being just slightly out of sync. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi found exactly this, noting that exceptional minds universally describe inner lives as the most complex, experiencing life at a level of detail that most people aren't. It's not a social deficiency. It's the inevitable result of living life in high definition. They're simply experiencing the world at a level of detail and resolution that most people around them are completely missing.
So, let's discard those old stereotypes for good. High intelligence isn't just about thinking faster or flexing your knowledge in a meeting. It is about a mind built to process more data, connect more distant concepts, feel the weight of the world more intensely, and require a depth of conversation and novelty that is incredibly hard to find. It is experiencing the raw, unfiltered complexity of the world.
Which leads us with this final thought. When you look at the people around you, the quiet observer, the chronic overthinker, the restless learner, consider that they might not be lost or aloof. They might just be operating on a bandwidth you haven't tuned into yet. So I'll leave you with this. What is the resolution of the reality you're living in? And what unseen depths might be hiding in the minds of the people sitting right next to you?